Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Pros and Politics Podcast, where we are polished and poised for greatness and impact. My name is Kahala, and I'm your host. Well, it may be season 7, but it's also Women's History Month. And here at Pros and Politics Podcast, we are always still about health, mental health, physical health, and all those things to make sure that we are where we need to be mind, body, soul, and spirit. And today we have a young lady that is in the practice of something that I am a huge proponent of, and that's chiropractic care. And so today, during Women's History Month, we have Dr. Ayana Daniels. Hey, Dr. Daniels.
Hello.
It's so wonderful to have you with us today. Like I said, here at Pros and Politics Podcast, we love women of color, communities of color, and just everyone to be healthy in every area of their life. And so that's why we're here. And so when you and I met, and I'm like, oh my goodness, she's a chiropractor and she's gorgeous and she's black and all the things, all the things. So I had to have you on so you can tell us all about the practice of chiropractic care and all about yourself and your practice. So please
Yeah.
start with yourself. Go ahead and tell us all about Dr. Daniels.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on your show. I
Absolutely.
truly appreciate this. This is actually the first time I've ever been on a podcast,
On
so
the
I'm excited.
podcast.
Yes, you're my first. But yeah, so let's see. I have been a chiropractor for let's say 4 years.
Okay.
And honestly, chiropractic was actually not my first initial career choice. I feel like this was a God given gift, and He led me to
Absolutely.
this path after so many detours and trying to figure it out on my own. But I practice in Grand Prairie, Texas, and I'm actually a mobile chiropractor. So I come to the patients, just so they can feel safe in their home, just so they don't have to worry about traveling, especially mothers. And I just actually started that January.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I can definitely say, well, first, let's start with congratulations. And
Thank you.
when you spoke of mothers, I remember when I was pregnant with my youngest son, my middle child, and I was a little bit in that geriatric range. Didn't want to, consider myself that, but was over
Because we're
35.
not.
And when I tell you my back was out one day, and so my husband literally had to basically almost carry me into my chiropractor's office, right? And my
Right.
doctor, he adjusted me, and literally when I left, I could walk. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then my youngest child, my daughter, the way she was positioned in utero,
Mm-hmm.
I took her in several times after her birth, and they adjusted her. And it just, I really believed, helped her growth and development, in those early weeks and months of her life. And so, of course, my children, I'm truly blessed, are all three are very healthy, and will continue to
Yep.
be. But chiropractic care, I've been doing it probably faithfully for about 10 years now. And when I tell you I go monthly for maintenance, I go monthly for maintenance. Yes. So this is Women's History Month, and you are an
Mm-hmm.
African American female chiropractor. And we all know that in many practices and areas, not just in medicine or law, that we are by far the minority. Is it the same way in chiropractic care?
Yes, actually, for statistics purposes, African American chiropractors is about 2.4%
Of
right
all
now.
chiropractors. Okay.
And I don't really know the statistics for women, but I know it's less, of
Obviously,
course,
yes.
in that 2.4%. And I'm seeing more now students in schools that
Awesome.
are female, and it's making me happy because like we don't have that many out here.
Hmm.
Like we have a group, and it's not many of us, but it's enough to at least We're
Get a
dispersed in
yes,
different states.
and get a network going.
Um, yes. So I actually I've worked for a African American female doctor.
Okay.
Then I worked for a Caucasian male, and then I've also worked with a African American male doctor. I will say the Caucasian doctor that I did work for, he he was a big inspiration for me,
Okay.
being that he was like, don't live by the story that society gives you or that's in your head or what you've been through. Don't play victim to it.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, he's the one that uplifted me. He was like, you're a great doctor.
You are.
You have a gift. And I can say that about many doctors, but he said, don't let what society says that you are deter you from your gift. He said, you make sure that you shine out there. Make sure that you spread your gift, but don't live inside your head because of what they're telling you. And I was like, well, I've never had that happen before. And just to hear that someone that's not of our group pour into me
Mm-hmm.
and encourage me was like, it was an uplift moment for me. And so that like pushed me to just make sure that I'm pouring into not just others in our caliber, but like just all around females in the industry. So if I meet even my patients, when I meet them, I make sure that they understand that I'm here for them, like I hear them, and they have a safe place.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I know how society or what they put on us.
Absolutely. We are big on mentorship
Mm-hmm.
here. Mentors are very important. Again, I don't care what space or place you're in, whether you just, as a woman, you have a mentor, as a mom or a parent, whether it's in your career, but having a mentor is extremely important because, as I always say, the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. And if you don't have mentors or people who have greater knowledge or wisdom or understanding of what it is that you're going through, how can you ever grow? So,
Right.
also to know that there are allies outside of our own spaces, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to say, well, this was someone who didn't look like me, right? Who wasn't even
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
my same gender group, who was like, I see the gift in and on you. And it is very evident. I'm big on passion. And when I have guests who come on, I just love it when it just radiates from them what they do and how they love what they do. And it is very clear. Like we were talking off camera, and I told you how much I love your pick, your
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Ayana pick. And I just can't wait to just plaster that everywhere because I was just like, this is just so beautiful. Like, I just love
Oh,
her. And
thank
I'm
you.
like, I know her. And we have, common family. I'm like, but you
Yes.
just radiate gift,
Oh, thank you.
care, love, all of those things. And that's very
Thank
important
you.
because it comes off to your patients. Because we've all had that doctor that didn't really care,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so that's
Yes.
why you find somebody, you leave and go somewhere else to find somebody who does care. But to have that person to find your person, I'm sure your patients are very, very happy with that. So you said we often always want to come back to like the pearls of wisdom and knowledge. You said something that I heard because it always resonates with me. There were several paths, several detours to where it is that you are right now. So
Mm-hmm.
tell us about that, the detours and the paths that led the Lord, listening to the Lord finally, into your
Yes.
gift.
Oh well. Um, when you're a kid, you have a dream, right? I feel like God gives you your dream and what His purpose is for you as a kid. But as you grow up and you enter the real world, it kind of diminishes because of either what someone has said, discouraging you, or if you didn't have enough mentors or people that were God sent.
Mm-hmm.
to pour into you, to push you to
Absolutely.
that gift, you
Yes.
kind of lose it. And so as you grow older, I feel like you're trying to find your way back to what he has given you. And so as a kid, I knew I wanted to help and I knew I wanted to take care of people. And I actually wanted to be a pediatrician and a teacher all in one. Um, I was like, I'm going to be this, this, and this. But as time went on, life happened, things happened,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of lost that uh, being a pediatrician. I was just like, I don't want to go to school that long. I mean, there's other things that I can do. I was just like in and out. So I did try the teacher path. That was a no. I love kids. Like, I love kids. But to teach them, mm-mm.
It's a gift, and that's a gift I don't have. Like, I totally understand. I love teachers, but yeah, that's not my gifting, right?
Yeah. I was like, I could work with kids
Other
in another
ways.
way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I was like, okay, I could do nursing because I'm still in the medical field, healthcare field, and I'm still helping. And then I was looking at it as, oh, I get three, like looking at the work schedule basically. And then I was like, I'm not really a fan of that side of medicine. And so I actually had psychology as a minor. And I will say, the counselor at the undergrad, I went to UMSL. So I went to SEMO, then I went to UMSL. So I finished at UMSL. But when I was trying to do the nursing route, I actually had an advisor tell me, maybe you should find another career choice. I was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Just because I was C in nutrition? Yeah.
Got it.
So, psychology, I had a lot of credits in psychology because I also love psychology. I love how the mind works. So, that ended up being my major. So, I graduated with that. And I was like, well, I could be a school counselor. Like, I was just thinking of different avenues in psychology. But I was like, but my heart is still towards the healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
And so, after working many jobs, then moving back to St. Louis,
Mm-hmm.
I worked in behavioral health and I absolutely loved it. And I was like, maybe I could be a behavioral health nurse. But then I was like, there's something else that is tugging, but I just can't figure it out. So it was actually a friend that was in the program in chiropractic. Like I didn't know anything about chiropractic. But car accidents. So that's
Okay.
all I knew.
Right.
And my friend, and that's not what it is, right?
Right. But for years, that's what we thought, right? Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to work with people who've been in car accidents.
Mm.
But my friend, when I was at his house, he was studying, and I love anatomy, and I was like, ooh, this looks very interesting. So I sat there with him as he was studying, and I was like, this is chiropractic, and he was like, yeah, basically the function of your body, and I was like, okay, I could probably get with that, but I was like, in my head, I was like, I'm not smart enough for that. Like I'm talking down to myself in my head, like the mind is the enemy, so I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I can't see myself doing. And the moment he adjusted me, sorry, my son is here. The moment he adjusted me, it's like a light bulb went off.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, hold on now. We might be onto something. But it was 3 years later that I finally took the tour to Logan University
Mm-hmm.
in Chesterfield. When I stepped foot, it was just me and another girl that toured. But prior to going to that tour, I was like my hardest not to go. I was finding excuses why I shouldn't go.
Mm-hmm.
But all I could hear was, no, go. No, go. So I went. The moment they had us find the SI joint, I went straight to it. And he was like, oh, yeah,
You're a
that's pretty
natural.
quick.
You're a natural.
Yes. And then he said, had us find like the L3, and I was like, right here. And he was like, hmm.
Have you done this before?
Right. And I was like, okay, maybe this is something I should look into. But basically, the way the process went, how smooth it went, I was like, this has to be God.
Absolutely.
This has to be God. Because I was intending to start the fall of 2016, and she was like, how about you just apply for the summer of 2016? Because I went on tour December 1st, 2015. And I was like, that's too soon. And she was like, just give it a try. And so I applied for the summer, and
Got in.
they accepted me in February. I got the acceptance letter in February 2016, and
The rest is history.
the rest is history.
That is a beautiful thing. In life, we oftentimes have many detours and
Mm-hmm.
roadblocks and different things that lead us down different paths that are not the path that God has for us. It's interesting you said you wanted to be a pediatrician. Well, obviously, I'm a lawyer now. I wanted to be an optometrist.
Oh,
So at least you're still in
wow.
healthcare. Like mine was just it was just me, like thinking, okay,
Yeah.
well, you have big eyes and people talk about your eyes all the time. And, maybe you might be a good eye, right? Nothing substantive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just continued to have struggles, right? Never had
Yeah.
struggles academically my whole life. But when I was getting too close to the path that he did not have for me, that is when the real grade issues and all the other things I never would have been able to get into anybody's medical school or optometry program if I continued
Yeah.
down that path. And the moment I woke up one summer and was like, I want to be a lawyer. And as you
Mm-hmm.
stated, the way he will just roll that red carpet out, the way he will just part that sea, the way he will make a way,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just like, this has to be God, right? It has to be
Yes.
God. And so here you are now, thriving, right, in your gift and doing exactly what he called you to do. So before we
Yeah.
close, two things. One, tell us why we should go to our chiropractor. Find a good one first, like Dr. Daniels,
Yes.
why we should find a chiropractor, what is the benefit of monthly maintenance, and then how we can reach you.
Okay. So the reason why you should go to a chiropractor and have consistent care is because, I mean, this is a simple way I put it. You have a body. You only have one body. You're constantly moving, so your spine does two things. It moves and it protects.
Okay.
Your spinal cord houses your nervous system, so that is your function. That is how your brain communicates. So if your brain is not able to fully communicate with the rest of the body, then we have what we call a dysfunction. And that's what a lot of us are walking in who doesn't have chiropractic care. We're walking in dysfunction. And dysfunction leads to stress levels, high stress levels.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people think that stress is one way, but stress shows up in many different ways in your body. And so
Absolutely.
to keep that consistent flow and function in your body, it's important to have consistent chiropractic care.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people think the myth is I always have to go, well, would you rather take care of your body and prevent it from major issues down the line, or do you want to just keep masking it and putting toxins into your body like pills
Mm-hmm.
that can create way more damage in your body than
Absolutely.
an adjustment? So consistent care is important for function if you want to function properly. You said, what was the next one?
How do we reach you? How can
Okay,
Dr.
so
Daniels be our chiropractor in the Texas area?
in the Texas area, so you can reach me. I do have Instagram. It is Divine Village Wellness. And then you can also reach me on my website, which is divinevillage.net. And I'm also on Facebook at Divine Village Wellness page. There's a page for it.
Well, I don't live in Texas. If I did, you would be my chiropractor. But I will be following all of your platforms because we are about women of color, communities of color,
Yes.
and thriving in every area. So, though I may not be able to get adjusted by you, I can still support you in any way that
Yes.
I can all the time. And I am just so happy for you, just so proud of you. Again, many times we don't listen, right, to the still small voice of the Lord. And so we're out
Yes.
here doing this and doing that, living here, doing whatever, when there is a true plan for our lives that He has. And if we walk in it, we will be blessed immensely. And so I just love to see the way you operate. And I know your patients are just so happy. And again, political pearls and gems, let me tell you, I go monthly to my chiropractor. I cannot function without it. When I get too busy or too stressed, I can tell. Dr. Daniels, when I'm like, you know what, it's been 5 weeks instead of 4. It's been 6 weeks instead of 4. And not
Yes.
only do I go in for an adjustment, but part of my plan is also a monthly massage. So
Oh, yeah.
between, girl, Dr. Daniels. So
Yeah.
between the adjustment and the massage therapy, when I tell you I can leap tall buildings in a single, like when I leave, I know that I've been, and within 24 to 36 hours, I can just feel my life is better.
Yes.
And growing
You
up,
can think clear.
yes. And my
Mm-hmm.
range of motion is better. My vision is clearer. Like that's what got me one
Mm-hmm.
time when I could tell that like my vision was sharper behind an
Mm-hmm.
adjustment. I was like, oh, say less. Like you don't have to sell me. So I am always telling people about um, chiropractic care and making sure that you're taking care of yourself because you can't be your best self for anybody else if you're not your best self for you.
Exactly. Especially us women, because we take on a lot. We do a lot. And so having that function and that stress level down helps tremendously
Tremendously.
in decision making.
In child rearing, in
Yeah. Oh,
chiropractic, and lawyering.
yeah.
Just everything. I'm
Yes.
sorry. I'm sorry. I could go on for days.
Everything. Everything. And I want more of our community to be educated in what chiropractic is and how it can help them because that's the biggest problem that I face is getting us to realize that this is actually what we need versus
Absolutely.
running elsewhere
Yes. Yes.
and that it's not just focused on pain.
Yes.
Like let that myth go. It's not just about pain. You don't have to be in pain.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time today. We just
Thank you.
pray that your practice just grows and thrives and just continues to flourish and that you and your family
Thank you.
continue to grow and flourish. But thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. I can't wait to see you next time you're in
Thank
town.
you.
I cannot wait to see your beautiful face the next time you are in town. And you're going to have to come
Thank
back.
you.
You're going to have to come back when you're in the St. Louis area. And then you
Yes,
can be
I
here
am.
in
I do
studio
need to
with
make a
us.
trip up there, so you will be on my list when I come.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Have
You're
a
welcome.
wonderful, wonderful day. And
Thank you,
thank
you
you.
as well.
Thank you. And thank you for tuning in today to the Pros and Politics podcast, where we are polished and poised for greatness and impact. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and that you'll join us again next week. But in the meantime, please like, love, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next week. Bye bye.